Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and we are here for the news of the FOMC. Sorry, let me close that. The FOMC minutes, or the Fed minutes that are all to do with the FOMC meeting later this month, are coming out very, very soon. So I'm going to put the timer on the screen. It is in about 10 minutes time. So I'll put the 10 minutes timer on the screen and then we can adjust the closer we get. It's in about 12 minutes time, but this will give us time to get ready. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We've just got news that the US shutdown is going to continue into 9th day, but we are still expecting to get these Fed minutes. Rate cuts are pretty much confirmed at this point, but in 14 minutes time, or in about 10 minutes time, we will get the ultimate confirmation of that. We've got gold and silver pumping to all-time highs. Silver's actually going to break out into all-time highs potentially today, getting over $50. Gold pushing past $4,000 and not stopping. So a lot of people are now suggesting we are in a bubble. A lot of people are now suggesting that when gold pumps and it makes these record highs, the next thing that's expected to come is a recession and a world crash. We'll explore all of those hopefully within this video or live stream. Whether you're watching now or you're watching later, please do make sure you do hit that like button. Do watch all the way through. I know we're watching something live, but even if you're watching later, we're going to discuss some very key points throughout this video as well. Some people say $4,000 is just the beginning. I am still bullish on gold and silver. They are two things that are running as we speak. Something we've been exploring for the last 3 years. We will have a video coming out on gold and silver specifically, so please do keep an eye out for that. Just a couple more key stories before we come on to those Fed minutes and what it actually means. We've got the Bank of England also warning as we speak. A warning has just come out that they are warning about a potential sudden correction in tech equity prices, citing the surge in investor optimism around artificial intelligence. This is the Bank of England now speaking about the stock market being in a bubble. I do think we are in some sort of bubble. I mean, AI has backed up the numbers for now, but valuation-wise, S&P 500 and the general market, where we're going, we are in a bubble phase. We are entering euphoria, and that's why I think the big gains are now going to come for the crypto market, because it's very much where we're in euphoric periods where we make money in crypto. Again, nothing I say is financial advice, my thoughts and opinions only, so please do not buy or sell based off anything I say. In the latest quarterly financial stability report, the Bank of England highlighted that valuations for major tech stocks, especially those riding the AI wave, have reached levels not seen since the dot-com era. It flagged stretched valuations and growing concentration within major indices, suggesting markets are highly exposed should AI-related expectations falter. That is a real risk. But what we're going to come on to actually now is what this FOMC Fed minutes are, what to expect and why it matters. So what are these minutes? Remember, we're going to get these released in about, let me restart that timer because it's coming out in 10 minutes time. So let me put that there. There we go. There we go. We'll come straight live to that as soon as that data is released. But what is that data? What are we expecting? If you have just tuned in, thank you everyone for tuning in. We are expecting some data to come out in 10 minutes. Please do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. So what is that data? Every 6 weeks, the Federal Reserve meets to decide on interest rates and monetary policy. A few weeks later, it releases the FOMC minutes, a detailed transcript-style summary of what was discussed behind closed doors. So remember, please, this is all in the newsletter. We release all of this information every day in the newsletter. There's a deep dive. That was the one on gold. We've got all of these stories, which is about 5 stories every day. You get the market snapshot, you get the chart of the day, you get the economic calendar, you get all of that straight to your inbox. It's the first link in the description. So do consider signing up. So let me go into why these minutes matter right now. The release comes at a critical moment. The Fed September meeting ended with its first rate cut of the cycle, signaling that tightening era might finally be over. Remember, last month we did get our first rate cut. We are expecting further rate cuts. And last time we got the beginning of the rate cuts about last year, the markets pumped about 20%, S&P 500. Pumped about 20% from that first rate cut. We have already pumped about 5%. So is there still another 10% left in the S&P 500? The minutes will determine if we're going to continue this rally or not, at least in the short term. So the Fed September meeting ended with its first rate cut of the cycle, signaling that the tightening era might finally be over. Markets cheered, but they're still unsure how fast and how deep the Fed is willing to go. We've got some sort of idea. If we start looking at the Fed Watch tool, we are about 92%. If I refresh this, about over 90% confident. What we know yet, 92% confident that we will get a rate cut at the FOMC meeting on the 29th of October. Make sure you are subscribed because we'll be covering that live. And we are also about 80% confident we'll get a further rate cut in December. So markets are pricing in another 2 rate cuts, and they're very, very confident in that. So if the minutes contradict the fact that we're going to get another 2 rate cuts, then we can get a sell-off. If they confirm that to quite a large degree, then we can continue this move towards the upside. That's the S&P 500. That's the crypto markets. All of that can continue pumping, in my opinion. So the minutes dropping today could confirm or challenge this dovish interpretation. If they show broad support for further easing or reveal rising concern about slower growth, it could fuel another leg up in stocks, gold, and crypto. Remember, rate cuts are good for stocks, they're good for gold. We've explained why they're good for gold many times now, and they're good for crypto. Unless it's an emergency rate cut. In that case, the economy is failing, we are entering a recession, and the Fed are trying to play catch up. Conversely, if the tone sounds cautious, suggesting the Fed cut reluctantly, or that some members still fear sticky inflation, traders may scale back rate cut bets, and we could see a short-term pullback across risk assets. That's what we're waiting for in about 6 minutes' time. Key themes to watch: the inflation debate. These are all the main things that will come out in these minutes. If you have just tuned in, please do make sure you are hitting that like button. Let's make sure everyone's in, because in 6 minutes we're getting that data. All of these are going to be in the minutes, and the market will react based on all of this. So the number one theme is going to be the inflation debate. Markets want to see language suggesting confidence that inflation is under control. Any mention that disinflation trend is broadening or sustainable would reinforce expectations for another cut in December. But if the minutes highlight lingering concern about service sector inflation or wage pressures, that could temper hopes for aggressive easing. If we are hearing that inflation is very much on track, they are confident that we don't have any more sticky inflation, the tariff inflation is not going to affect us anymore, all of that sort of wording would be great. That would say, okay, inflation's coming down, they can cut rates and control the jobs. If we start hearing about wage pressures or service sector inflation or tariff inflation, then that's not always the best thing to hear. We might hear about it slightly, but if they make a big deal out of it, that will temper expectations of rate cuts. Remember, dual mandate. They look at inflation and they look at growth and jobs and the labor market. So essentially the labor market, they want to bring inflation down. They don't want unemployment to go up too much. Right now, inflation is coming down, but a little bit sticky. Labor market is quite strong, but unemployment's slowly going up. So that's why we're getting those rate cuts, because the labor market is looking a little bit weaker. So we don't want them to say the labor market is very, very weak, because that would be an emergency rate cut. The markets will panic. But we do want to see them say that they are focused on keeping the labor market under control, because that would mean that more rate cuts are coming. So the latest data shows a cooling jobs market and a weaker consumer spending. Remember, we are in shutdown mode. We're not getting all the data we normally do. We missed a jobs report last Friday because of the shutdown. If the minutes show policy makers increasingly focus on downside risk to growth, That's a green light for the bulls. It supports the narrative that the Fed is pivoting from fighting inflation to defending growth. However, if the tone is that the labor market remains resilient or tight, it means the Fed thinks the economy can handle higher for longer, not what the markets want to hear. So essentially, if the Fed come out and say the labor market is very resilient, we've done the rate cut, and we're very confident in the labor market, that would suggest no more rate cuts, or there's no need for rate cuts. They'll fully focus on inflation and bringing it down to 2%. If we hear them continue to say, which is what they've said last meeting and at the Jackson Hole speech, which is when this rally started, because they started saying the labor market, they're focusing on that now because there is downside risk to growth. We sort of want to continue to hear that narrative, but no panic about that narrative. Division inside the Fed. Watch for signs of disagreement. We were some members pushing for 50 basis point cuts instead of 25% basis point cuts. We get to see each Fed's members what they wanted and what they do want to see. So we get to see if there's any disagreement within the Fed, and I'm very confident there is. Some people wanted 50 basis points, some people instead of the 25 basis point, or did a few resist cutting altogether. If the split was wide, it suggests the path ahead is uncertain, volatility fuel. A united tone, meanwhile, reassures investors that policy will stay on a predictable easing path. It's good to note you don't want too much uncertainty. But again, if most people are saying 25 basis points and there's a couple people, such as Fed Waller, saying 50 basis point, I don't think that's too much of a concern. It does, however, show some uncertainty, but they're all towards the downside. If we start getting people saying we want to hike, we want to keep rates where they are, and then someone else is saying we want 50 basis point rate cuts, and someone else is saying 25 basis point rate cuts, that's when there's so much uncertainty, the markets will hate that. The physical angle, government shutdown and deficit pressure. If you have just tuned in, make sure you hit the like button. In about 2 minutes' time, we're getting the Fed minutes, and we'll see if a rate cut is confirmed or not. We'll have a very good idea in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. Remember, the markets are pumping. Gold and silver are hitting all-time highs. There's a lot of information to cover. All of it's in the newsletter. First link in the description. And if you are subscribed, you get to get all the information live. The physical angle, government shutdown and deficit pressure. Washington's budget drama has returned with the risk of a government shutdown looming later this month. Yeah, so we've got all of that shutdown pressures going on. We have just entered a 9th day, I believe, or an 8th day. Good for the market would be a strong consensus on rate cuts, references to slowing inflation, concern about tight physical conditions or credit stress, because that would mean they have to cut rates. Any recognition of rising global risks, such as China slowdown, European weakness, or geopolitical issues, that normally pushes the Feds towards caution. So be careful about any wording like that. What would actually spook the market and bring it down is any pushback against current market pricing for multiple cuts, mentions that inflation progress has stalled or further evidence is needed, tone suggesting September cut was a one-off adjustment. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear them say that they're going to continue. Talks of physical stimulus risks or overheated housing markets. So let's tune into Bloomberg, because they will bring it to us any second now. So let's hear. Let's just make sure we are fully up to date on Bloomberg. Let me go over here. We should be. We are going to tune into Bloomberg. They'll bring it to us in any second. Now we'll keep a tab open. How am I on the wrong screen? Here we go. Data is coming out. We've still got 30 seconds. 10 seconds. We'll keep Bitcoin open and we'll go over to Bloomberg.
Meantime, Nora and I are keeping their seats warm, and we're keeping an eye on what's coming out of the Federal Reserve. And let's go now to Michael McKee, who is standing by to give us, we're going first to Charlie Pellet. I got ahead of myself. Charlie Pellet, give us the latest.
Bitcoin's pumping.
U.S. equity markets as we await those headlines. The S&P right now trading at a record. S&P 500 index up 36, 67.51 where we stand. That is a gain right now of 0.5%. We have got the Dow up 79.
He's just looking at the markets. We're waiting for digestion of that Fed report. Bitcoin isn't reacting as of yet. It has pumped a little bit, but we are waiting for the markets to digest that Fed minutes. Remember, even if I had the minutes in front of me, I wouldn't be able to digest it this quickly. The market has all these indicators, all these AI bots that will read through it, understand it, give it to the top hedge fund managers, and then we'll see a response in the market. I can't physically do that. That's why we are waiting for Bloomberg to give us the synopsis. Remember, this is a big document. It's not a piece of just one singular data.
From its September 16th to 17th meeting. Mike, what are the key headlines?
Well, the minutes say that almost all of the participants, which is Fed speak for all but one, supported a quarter-point cut at the September meeting. Stephen Martyn, of course, the new governor, was the only one who wanted a half-point cut. But the minutes do suggest there were some more hawkish views. A few participants stated there was merit in keeping the federal Fed funds rate unchanged at this meeting, the minutes say, or they could have supported such a decision. And most participants emphasized upside risks to their outlook for inflation in the discussion about the economy. Much of that discussion revolving around inflation, with the hawks noting progress towards the Fed's 2% target had stalled, which raised the risks of inflation expectations rising. The weakening of the labor markets carried the day, however, officials indicating their outlooks for the labor market were uncertain, and they viewed downside risks to employment as having increased. They cited a number of indicators, including low hiring and firing rates, concentrated job gains in a small number of sectors, and increases in unemployment for groups that are traditionally showing greater sensitivity to the weakening economy, including African Americans and young people. There were a range of views, the minutes say, about the degree to which the current stance of monetary policy was restrictive and about the future path of policy. Most participants judging that it would likely be appropriate to ease policy further over the course of the year, but some noting by several measures financial conditions suggested monetary policy may not be particularly restrictive, which suggested a cautious path ahead. There was a brief discussion of the balance sheet, but reserves continued to appear abundant, the participants felt, and no changes were suggested. So the minutes kind of tell a story of a divided Fed. And that's what we got basically in the dot plot, with almost even division between further cuts and some people wanting just one and some none.
So clearly a divided Fed here. And of course, we have a Fed meeting coming up later this month here. And the dual mandate still remains paramount here: maximum employment and stabilization of prices. Where do you think the Fed should really be focusing on right now?
Well, you have a real division on Wall Street about that. A number of economists are pointing to the inflation figures that we have seen lately and suggesting that we have not yet seen the worst of the tariff pass-through into inflation and prices, and that is something to be concerned about. Others are still concerned about the weakening of the labor market and the idea that suggests a weakening of the economy ahead. But there's also a division in terms of labor on whether this is a supply problem because the administration has deported so many people who aren't now going to be able to take jobs, or a demand problem with companies seeing the economy slowing and not wanting to produce as much. The bottom line is the Fed would like to have a lot more data to give it a clue as to which way we're going this month, but they don't have it right now. So the tough thing is going to be using alternative indicators to figure out where they are and what that might be telling them they should do.
Mike, you mentioned that there was just some mention of the balance sheet. It seems like this is becoming a hotter topic of late, with market participants hoping for some more guidance on this. Why is that? Why is this rearing its head right now?
Well, we're getting to the point, Scarlett, where market participants in the money markets are suggesting that we're getting to the level of Fed funds reserves that are at the borderline for whether or not they are where there's enough available. We did see a 1 basis point jump in the effective Fed funds rate recently, and some people were pointing to that as a sign that this is coming. So the question is, when do they stop QT? When do they stop their overall reduction in the balance sheet? And it doesn't appear that on the 16th and 17th they were ready to do that. They still felt reserves were abundant enough, but it
Stay with me, we'll analyze this in a second.
That they're getting closer to the decision point.
Nothing major, though. Nothing.
All right, Mike McKee, thank you so much. Mike McKee is our international economics and policy correspondent, joining us from Washington with the latest headlines from the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee's minutes from their meeting last September. Yeah, it was a month ago, at which the Federal Reserve cut interest rates for the first time this year, beginning what many people in the market are pricing in is a cycle of rate cuts. I want to bring in now Kay Hirsch. She is
I'm just going to give you my thoughts, and then we'll continue listening because they've got the documents in front of them. This is a long document with a lot of data. So far, it just seems like we've got a mixed Fed, nothing massive, no major disagreements. Some people wanted to keep rates where they were. Most people wanted to see the rates cut. We are still expecting rate cuts. The markets right now are. It is a bit hawkish at the moment. The data that came out in the minutes were a little bit more hawkish than the market expected. Not terribly hawkish. The market have sold off just a few basis points. Nothing significant right now in the markets. But we're going to listen to the Fed a bit more. Remember, right now we're looking to see if the minutes are suggesting if the rate cuts are going to continue, or if they're not, what they think about the jobs market, how bad unemployment is. Are they looking to control the labor market, bring inflation or bring inflation down? Which one are they more worried about? That's what we're hearing right now. I will give you a full analysis in about 5 minutes. Let's see what else they have to show us.
Shut down, and we are in an absence of data. So the Fed, or the Bureau of Labor Services, did not release the employment data on Friday. It's unlikely, unless the government reopens, it's unlikely that we're going to get CPI next week. So what are we looking at? What's the Fed looking at? The next major piece of data that we think is two things, I would say. The first is corporate earnings start on October 14th. And I think that can be a great indication of what we're seeing from a bottom-up perspective on the economy. The second one, on a macro perspective, that I'm sure the Fed will look at, is the Beige Book. So we've got the Beige Book coming out on October 15th.
Yeah, and I feel like the Beige Book has taken on greater importance in this period of uncertainty, where we're not sure if companies are passing along higher costs to their customers or how they're dealing with it. And every company is doing things differently based on the experience of their executives. When it comes to corporate earnings, Kay, as someone who is in the fixed income market, what do you watch for? What do you look for? Is it the...
Okay, that's enough of that. So we have just got breaking news that the rate cut expectations now in December have gone up. We are pretty much certain that we are getting a rate cut in October. Half certain that December will get another or more than 50% chance they will get another rate cut in December. The markets have sort of shrugged this off. Bitcoin, which normally reacts quite in quite a large extent to this data, has just shrugged it off. The S&P 500, if you look at the S&P 500, it does not care. The market was it was actually a bit more hawkish than we were expecting, and the market doesn't care. The S&P 500 is on the brink of all-time highs. Bitcoin is on the brink of all-time highs. Gold is on the brink of all-time highs. Look at gold over here, over $4,000 now today. If we go to gold, it's broken 4,000 and it's not stopping. $4,047 on the brink of all-time highs. Silver, massive day for silver. We've been talking about silver. It's the sleeping giant, up 3% today. That is on the brink of all-time highs. When silver breaks $50, it will be going parabolic, in my opinion. Everything is on the brink of all-time highs. The market is at a euphoric phase. This can continue, but for how long can it continue? That's the question. Can it continue? Yes. Can it continue forever? No, it can't. Let me just go to the comments, because we've got Martyn in the chat, and I do want to see what Martyn is saying to this. That's a problem, Vocal. Vocal says the S&P does not seem to care, and then Martyn says that's the problem, Vocal, when no one cares and the markets keep going up. That's why I'm all in cash now, earning 3.75%. Yestin is here. How are you, Sensei? I'm doing well. Thank you, Yestin. I'm sure you're very happy with all your gold and silver trades. Congratulations to you. Vocal says, I know, I now agree with you. The market will crash end of Q4, closing books. Hey, Yestin, great to see you here. Okay, so first of all, the markets are crazy. You need to understand what's going on in the markets. That's why we've got our newsletter. That's why every single day we bring out all the top stories. You can understand what's going on at a glance. You can understand the valuations. You can understand what the Bank of England is saying. You can understand what deals are happening behind the scenes with AI. You can understand. We had a story on the ETFs and the inflows. Everything behind the scenes that's going on. You get the news to your inbox. Are we back?
Are we back?
I think we're back. There we go.
There we go. I think we're back.
We're back.
We're back. We're back. Everyone let me know. Are we back? Are we back?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
I just
I
lost
just lost 400.
Are we back?
Are we back?
Are we all
Are
good?
we all good?
Let me know in
Let
the
me
chat.
know in the chat. We're back.
Yes, you're back.
Yes, you're back. Okay, cool.
Wow.
That was. I don't know how I managed to do that. I pressed.
Don't know how
Don't know how I did that.
There's a plug underneath my desk, and my foot hit
the switch.
the switch
turned off
everything.
The lights.
The studio,
the computer. I had to log in, and somehow we're back. So,
says he's
got system audio playing.
What's playing?
What's playing?
Echo. What is the echo? Where the hell is the echo coming from? What is the echo? I have no idea where that echo's come from. I know it's stopped now. That means we... Okay, let's just ignore it. That's all good. I've just muted that, so we should have no more echo. I know it's stopped now. That means we're all good. I think we're good. All good. All good. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We are back. Breathe. We're good. Well, I do apologize. Thank you all for staying with me. Martyn's asked me to play a short. The issue now is I can't actually play. Oh, let me turn that off. I can't play the short because I've lost system audio for some reason. I'll play it in the morning show. I can't. The link is there. I can't play the short. Okay. So where were we? What were we talking about? We were talking about the markets. Gold's at all-time highs. Stocks are all-time highs. Bitcoin is at all-time highs. Crypto's approaching all-time highs. Silver is about to break out to new all-time highs. So the markets are going absolutely crazy. We are in a euphoric period. However, in a euphoric period is when people make the most amounts of money. We don't know when the crash will come. We have no idea if there. I'm very confident we will get a crash 2026, but ignore my prediction. No one knows when a crash will come. It could be tomorrow. It could be in a week. It can be in 6 months. It can be in 12 months. It can be in 2 days. No one knows when the crash will come. The one thing that's for certain is normally when you make the most amount of money in a market is in that euphoric stage, especially in the crypto market. If you're looking at something like XRP, when you make the most amount of money is when you are in the euphoric stage, not in just the normal bull market, but in the final month, the final 2 weeks. If you look at some of these bull markets in crypto, especially in the altcoins, remember it's like the Russell 2000, the stuff that are much more risky, but you expect better returns. You only get those better returns at certain points in history, and it's normally in the very end of a bull market where everything goes euphoric. So if you look at XRP here, it went from 23 cents all the way up. Is this in 2018? All the way up to $3.28. Remember, that was just the second half of the bull market. But anyway, it did that all in 21 days. It went up 1,000% in 21 days. My point is, at the end of a bull market, especially for altcoins and like the Russell 2000 and these smaller market cap tokens or smaller market cap stocks, that euphoric period at the end, it's about 1 month, between 2 weeks and 2 months. It's about averaging about 1 month. That is euphoria. That is when the market peaks, the market puts in a top, and the market crashes 80%. So at that point is when you make the most money. If you're not in for that point, you won't make the most. You won't take full advantage. Again, that's not financial advice. It's just the truth. The euphoric period is when you make the most money. We don't know if there will be a euphoric period, but everything is creating new all-time highs. We are entering a bubble zone. Let me take the data off the screen because we've already had the data. That's just reset because my computer reset. Let me turn that off. We are in a euphoric market. We don't know if we will get that final altcoin season, but all of this euphoria, all of these all-time highs is making me more confident that we will, because the market is going absolutely crazy. It's not making sense. The valuations do not make sense. You can't try and make it make sense. Palantir's valuation doesn't make sense. The S&P's valuation doesn't make sense. You look at the S&P over money supply, which is one way to see how much euphoria there is in the market, or if looking at the S&P in terms of how much money there has actually been printed over the years, and you're looking at potentially putting in the highest valuation ever, including and taking into account how much money has been printed. The last time we were at these valuations was at the dot-com bubble. And remember, the dot-com bubble was the biggest bubble in the history of the stock market. And we are approaching those territories. We still have another 5, 6, 7, 20%. What is it? Let me just check. About another 7% left on the S&P 500 to reach the all-time high on the chart S&P 500 over money supply. If we do go up another 7%, in my opinion, that is the point where I will possibly be shorting the broader market, because I think there will be a crash coming. And I think by the time we go up there, we will start entering euphoria season on the crypto markets. That money from the S&P 500 will flow out into the micro caps, whether that's crypto or the Russell. We'll get all-time highs there, and then we'll go into a major crash. But we are set up quite nicely for some big gains still to come. It's not as simple as saying the S&P 500 is overvalued, you should sell everything. It obviously depends on each person's circumstances. But with these FOMC minutes, we just saw that the Fed was a bit more dovish. Sorry, a bit more hawkish than usual, and the market shrugged it off. Let's just have a secondary look at the market. The Bitcoin's price right now is at, has it retracted since that? It's down slightly, nothing. It still seems to be shrugging it off as it feels nothing, down maybe 0.27%. The S&P 500 after that Fed report came out is actually up at all-time highs. So there is not a care in the world. If you look at the Fed Watch tool, that suggests there is going to be a rate cut of there's a 92% chance of a rate cut in our October meeting. There's another 77% chance of a rate cut in the December meeting. So it looks like we're on course for another 2 rate cuts. And even in January, are we expecting another rate cut? No, we're not expecting a rate cut in January at the moment, but I think we're expecting one in March. So we are looking at another 3 rate cuts in the next 4 meetings. I expect to be in a recession by the end of 2026. I'm sure we would have hit a recession, in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. And if it's not a recession, I think we'll have a major pullback within the markets, because everything is certainly overbought. We are entering earnings season as well. So remember, we're going to be covering big earnings. Make sure you are subscribed, because we'll be covering all the earnings. That's when you start finding out what's actually going on in the markets and what companies are doing. So earnings season's coming up in about a week's time. A lot of earnings, and that could be one final good earnings, or it could be earnings that are now foreshadowing what's going to happen in 2026. But I think, as Martyn says, a crash is coming. The question is when, and will we get our final euphoria? I think it will be in 2026, and I think, yes, we'll get a final euphoric period in the smaller market cap, more risk on assets in the market. I think that will also result in silver, smaller market cap compared to gold, going to new all-time highs, potentially doubling in value, maybe going to $100 an ounce. Or $75 an ounce. Silver is hitting all-time highs, levels it hasn't seen since 2011, I believe. 2011 was the last time it hit $50, and before that, it did hit near $50 in 1980. So 3 times we've tried to break $50. This is our 3rd time now. If we break it, I do think we'll have a major pump of about 25 or about 50% up to $75 at least on silver. Again, nothing financial advice, my thoughts and opinions only. I'm going to answer all your questions. If you have answers, throw them in the if you have questions, throw them in the chat. Let me see if I can get through them. If you haven't signed up to a newsletter, please do. It's the first link in the description. It is also, I'm going to put it in to the live chat. Here's the live chat. Cat on the desk playing with cable says to Bitcoin is up, the rest are lower high, the rest is lower highs, lower lows. Yep, but that changes in the last part of the cycle. More physical gold and silver coming on Friday. Oh, I love it, Yestin. Vertical bouncing down off $6. Thank you for that. Do you think it will 1,000% this bull run? Do you think it will do 1,000% this bull run? No, I don't have any 1,000% predictions. I'm never sure. I'm about 60% sure that we'll get a euphoric run on the altcoins. And then that 60%, then you have to look at the risk to reward. And the risk to reward, if it does happen, is massive. The risk is it goes down 80%. You have to wait for the next bull run. The reward is 800% gains, 500% gains, 300% gains. What's the chance I think it will happen? 60%. Remember, when I give these figures, they're all related to what I think and my research. Do your own. And when I say do your own, I mean what's right for you in your circumstances. I don't care why, I care what. You're looking smart with it. Yes, I don't have margin. Congratulations, Stephen. Buy the pump, buy the pump. I wouldn't buy the pump at this point. Made almost 100% trading a arch today. 20% correction now, back up where it started, holding to $18. Congratulations, loaded. Vocal says, congrats on your trades today. Yes, congratulations. Ibrahim Wolf says, same, I only trade cash account with 212. Walker says, buy the pump, buy the pump. Ibrahim says, I still manage good returns. Mo says, any price target for XRP. If you want to do a chart request, you can do a $5 super chat. Thanks, Vocals. Me and Sensei were talking about silver in a call a few months ago. Yes, we were. I mean, I've been talking about it on the channel for years, to be honest. Especially gold, and then it flows into silver. Now silver is at $49. Can silver 10x by Jan? No, it can't 10x by Jan. Silver can't 10x by January, not at all. My local jeweler predicts that. Your local jeweler predicts that silver's going to 10x by January. How can if it's not going to happen. Yesin says, in my opinion, 55 is possible by January. Yeah, 55. $72 is possible by January. Seems a bit ridiculous now, but if you break $50, gold continues going up, and you get a few shorts. You get a short squeeze on silver. You can get $73 by January quite easily, actually. $55 you can get in 2 days. Okay, so let me wrap this up because I've lost access to a few of my systems since the computer shut off. But let me leave you with this. Have a plan for what to do. Everything is euphoric right now. If you can't handle it, have a plan. Everyone should have a plan, whether you can handle it or not. Have a plan. When are you going to sell? Are you going to sell? What are you going to do if it crashes? What are you going to do if it pumps? For me, if it pumps, brilliant. That is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a pump on crypto, and I've got specific targets I will sell. If it sells off and we crash before we get that euphoric run on the smaller market cap stocks and crypto, then I'll hold. I'll buy more at lower prices. I'll try and make more money at lower prices, buy more. And then I'll wait 4 years because the tokens I've chosen, about 95% of them, 90% of them, I'm very confident they will come back. Next cycle. So that's my plan if it goes down. I am ready for both situations. I'm ready for an 80% crash. I'm not in too many leverage positions. And if I have some leverage in certain parts of my portfolio, I don't care if it gets liquidated. I'll buy more lower. And if we pump, that is what I'm expected. I have got perfect areas that I want to sell. Please do hit subscribe. Apparently, we could hit 103,000 on the show. Let's see what we can do. Can everyone please hit the subscribe button? If you haven't subscribed yet, let me give you some reasons to subscribe. We are live every single day. We're the most honest YouTube channel in the world. Martyn shares all of his trades and portfolios and bank accounts live on the show. We don't do videos, we interact with our audience. We go live with every single crypto event. We go live with every single stock event. We cover most earnings. We do chart reviews for $5 compared to people that do it for hundreds. We do earnings requests for $5 compared to people that just won't sit through an earnings call. We do live interviews with CEOs, unedited, real. No other channel does that. Maybe a couple channels do that, but not in the style that Martyn interviews. And we love Martyn's style because we always get a bit more out of the CEOs and see who they really are. Just like an interview we did yesterday, and it was an amazing interview. Do go check it out with Hover's CEO. We've got an eVTOL expert, which is a new evolving industry, just like crypto was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe like Tesla was about 10 years ago. We've got an expert called Vaz who's live on the show. We are live all day, every day. Martyn is on holiday, so we won't be live all day, every day, but we will try and keep up. So do consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Make sure you have hit the notification bell as well, so you are notified if we go live. We are also giving away $2,000 in XRP live on the show. It is not fake, it is real. It's not like other giveaways. You can see exactly what's going on. We share all the data. So do check it out. It is a $2,000 giveaway. If you want to win $2,000 live on the show, do let me know in the chat and I can give you the giveaway link. Yeah, it's free to enter, free for all. No one needs to buy anything. What's going on in the chat? We've got MSK here. Welcome, MSK. Sensei ready for me to exchange my whiskey for silver? I just never think, unless you really, really, really know what you're doing with wine and whiskey, it always seems like anyone who I've spoken to has invested in paintings, whiskey, wine. What else do people invest in these days? Stuff like that. They have really underperformed the AI boom, the crypto boom, all of these, the tech boom, Tesla boom, Apple, Microsoft. They've definitely underperformed them with anything like that, unless they know exactly which ones to buy and they are the experts of the world, or unless they're really, really rich and they just want to consume it and think of it as an investment. You're very, very hard to make some good money. I always prefer investing in the stock market. It's our own money. Where were we? Sensei's ready for me. Sensei is the last person to exchange silver for whiskey. I wouldn't be doing that. You're right, MSK. MSK. No purchase needed. It's free. There is the link for the XRP 2000 giveaway. It is now pinned to the top. Click on it. Essentially, all you need to do is follow me on X, or I think it's Martyn on X. You get 5 points. If you already follow Martyn on X, you get 5 tickets, and every ticket's another entry in. It takes about 2 minutes to do all the entries, and then you have got lots of tickets to win the giveaway, and we're doing it live on the show. Would investing in iShares...
Brian D'Alessandro donated £4.99 through a super chat. Can you look at Lungley's highs now they're teamed up with Swift?
Isn't Luna the moon landing company? We covered their moon landing once, didn't we? Intuitive Machines. I'll look at it. Thank you, Brian. They've partnered with Swift. What's going on? I don't understand the partnership. I'll look at it though. I have a wine and whiskey portfolio. Kay Clark, how's it going? Genuinely, is it outperforming the Nasdaq? Is it outperforming Nvidia? Well, it's probably not. Nothing's outperforming Nvidia. Is it outperforming AI, Bitcoin? Is it? Please be honest. Let's see. Raiden, what's it up in the last year? What would investing in iShares? Do you regret? Would you have rather invested? Would you have made more money if you invested in the market? Would investing in iShares, Silver Trust, being equivalent to investing in silver? Would I receive the same benefits of a silver pump? if it is, again, I don't give advice. I don't know exactly what that fund is. I'm pretty sure that is a the BlackRock um, silver spot fund, which essentially you pay them a little fee and they hold silver underlying. So in theory, yes, you should get the same benefits as a silver pump. Other people would say always physical's better. You have it in your hand. Sometimes you'd have to pay capital gains tax if you're in the UK, for example, and you buy the legal tender Britannia coins, you'd have to pay capital gains tax. But then the VAT is always an issue here in the UK. Um, there's pros and cons of each. Most cases, it's probably better owning the ETFs, but most stackers don't like to do that. But yeah, you should receive all the same benefits unless the world goes upside down. Or unless there is a massive short squeeze, and then they can't handle the volatility and they leave you out of it. That's always a possibility. But the same could happen with physical silver. Someone might not buy it off you. So pros and cons of each. They're sort of as good as each other. Songs for space. That's all monetary laundering. Art, NFTs, ETF, etc. My best whiskey bottle gone last year for 85. Got last year for £85 and now 400-ish. Worst is 525 to 550. Fair enough. Doesn't sound bad. But then also it's just, you can't put it in an ISA. You could have made those gains on an ISA. Nvidia's done thousands of percents of gains. Bitcoin's up from 13,000 a bear market to 115,000. XRP went from 30 cents to $3 in a year. In the US, we've now can access potentially in the next few days. Again, I'm doing a video on it. We can access ETFs in an ISA, which will be tax-free growth. I don't know. I don't think whiskey is tax-free, but again, that would be a hard one. Anyway, 85 to 400 is of course great, but it is a lot more risky. It can go off. You cannot store it properly. You need the storage. You need this, that, and the other. There's always pros and cons to each. I'm just not a big fan of investing in those sorts of things. Not just alcohol, but like art and stuff like that until you have a very high net worth. Songs for Space says art is the best money laundering tool. Can you look at LUNR? Yeah, let's have a look at it. LUNR. Intuitive. This is the company that landed on the moon, isn't it? LUNR. I have no idea what the partnership is. Let me have a look. If there's any news here. Oh, crypto, right. I thought you meant the stock. Sorry, LUNR USD. That's what I was saying. I was like, how are they linked? Look, LUNR. LUNR. There is no crypto with a ticker symbol LUNR. Lena. No. No, that's not the same ticker symbol. The ticker symbol I don't have on TradingView, unfortunately, Brian. So I can't do a chart review with that ticker because that is the only ticker that comes up for that is a stock. Lena Crypto, I tried that, but it's not the same ticker symbol. Or do I do both? Or I do both with silver. Last year I am, yes. But I won't liquidate or sell early just to release the funds. I don't contribute to it currently now that I've found crypto. K Clark, what? Nope. Oh, nope. What? It hasn't made you money. Thanks, Sensei. Appreciate your opinion, of course. Thank you, Raiden. Yes, and said I am putting a few good bottles in auction. It's a tax-free buy. It is a tax-free buyers pays tax. Buyer pays tax, no CGT. I've never heard of that. I love it. Anointed Flower says, "Hi, Sensei. What's your thoughts on Lunk? Not Lunk. L-U-N-L. Okay, L-U-N-C. I have no thoughts on it. I don't know what it is. It's a crypto. I don't know what that one is. Indian stock market. India's stock market's crashing apparently. I don't know what the big ETF is in India. Indian Bank. No. Normally I know some tickers for their top ETFs. India iShares India ETF. I can't see any crashing on the Indian stock market, but I don't think that would affect the world anyway. I bought 2 bottles of Tesla mezcal, think it'll be worth a lot, but I don't know. I figured when my portfolio hits 1 million, I'll open 1 bottles to celebrate. Oh yeah, that's a different way of looking at it. Tesla, is that the one which was shaped nicely and has that nice stand? This is their whiskey, isn't it? Is it still available, or is it sold out? I know they had the original one that went up in price. He means Lena. Oh, Lena. L-I-E L-I-N-E-A. Oh, Lena. I genuinely haven't heard of them before. I don't know anything about them. It looks like they haven't been trading for that long either. They've partnered with Swift. I wouldn't be worried about it. I mean, lots of people partner with lots of companies. It doesn't mean much. It's normally just a headline, and they're partnering with them on something completely separate to what we think. If I knew more about the token, I'd potentially buy it as a high risk play. If I thought that they're going to take over the payments industry, then I would buy a little bit, but I don't think so. If you do think so, I don't want to put you off buying it. It is in a symmetrical triangle. It has just come out. If we do get a proper bull market, I'm sure it'll perform really well. This could potentially go to 10 cents, a dollar. I have no idea what this stock is. I don't have time to look into the fundamentals technical wise. It's just in a symmetrical triangle. It has only come out last month. If it breaks the upside, I expect it to go to all-time highs. If it breaks the downside, I expect it to touch its base. But maybe I'll try and do some research and get back to you on that. Yep, elites use art. Is fascinating. No regulation. Yes, Sensei, have you got my message in Discord? 1,000. No, I haven't. Let me have a look, Kimberly. I did send you all the link and everything. Kimberly. Kimberly, I've sent you a message. You haven't replied to me. Look at your direct messages. Have you? In your direct messages yesterday, I gave you all the information you need to know. You haven't responded to me. Brian says it's Lena. They have teamed up with Swift. Thank you, Brian. Zed Stacker, I think it's sold out, but the bottle is not as nice as the first one. Yeah, I've just looked at the bottle. It does look different, doesn't it? The first one was like see-through. I can't access it because they don't have it here in the UK. You can't buy it in the UK even if it was available. Thoughts on quantum computing sector? Personally, I am short. No thoughts. I don't really look at stuff I'm not too educated in. I wouldn't short it personally because I don't know much about it. Okay, I will check. Thank you. No worries, Kimberly. Okay. Is there anything else I want to go through? No, I don't think so. So what we're going to do is go over to the live, the extra channel. This stream should be coming out in vertical format as well, but I don't know where I can view that. Is anyone in the chat right now watching this stream vertically? And what I mean by that, not like in a short form, when you go through your shorts or you swipe through things, it's in vertical format. Is anyone watching this in vertical format? Let me know in the comments. If anyone's watching this in vertical format, do let me know. Swift confirmed they're testing Lena's technology for cross-border payments. Thank you, Maurice. Let me just copy that so I have that somewhere so I can look into it. Lena technology. Swift. Swift is building on Lena to build its new payment system. Okay, I'll have a look at it. Thank you. Thoughts on FTOL market? I'm very bullish on the FTOL market. Thoughts on VMC? But again, on the FTOL market, I know it's a high risk play. We don't know which one's going to come out on top. We don't know which one's going to run out of money. We don't know which one's going to kill someone. We don't know which one's going to partner with the best aerospace companies. It's a risky market, but I am bullish on it overall. Terra Luna Classic, yeah, I wouldn't be buying Terra Luna Classic. That was the biggest scam of the century. Small screen, I am. A small screen, you are. Showing as horizontal, Sensei. Interesting. I don't know how it's doing it. Yeah, it's a new update on YouTube. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow morning forecast show. So we'll have some more again. Obviously, we haven't been able to fully digest the minutes. We've understood what it was all about. Nothing major, but I will have time to read all the documents that come out, all the dot plots. I'll be putting it in the newsletter in the morning. I'll be coming live, as always, about a couple hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours before the opening bell. I'm going to try and see if I can start doing the opening bell as well at the same time. So I'll be live tomorrow. Again, remember, Martyn is now officially on holiday. He is still at home, but he is on holiday. I won't be surprised if he comes back and says hello, but I don't think he will. Anyway, he's on holiday until November, so the show's now in me and Vaz's hands. So I'll be trying to do more covering the opening bell, seeing if I can cover the closing bell. Closing bell is in about an hour and a half. I'm going to be filming a video, so I'm going to be filming a video about gold. I'm going to be filming a video about UK ETFs. I'm going to be filming a video about silver. I'm going to put a little poll in the chat. Which one do you want first? Members only live stream. Oh. Interesting. What? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to do that right now. Did you see how Hover pumped after the interview? Let's see. Have a look at Hover. HOVR. Oh, look at that. Hover up 12% today. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. The CEO was live on the show yesterday. I do recommend that everyone goes and has a look at the Hover interview. Remember, this is a massive, massive breakout above $3, because essentially, if we can hold this level, we've got a gap fill at $4.59. Again, never financial advice, but that could be another 37% upside if Hover does hold the $3 level. That could be another 30+% move towards the upside. Congratulations to anyone who's in Hover. Today, you're up over 12%. Did you see how Hover pumped after an interview? Hover can be a big winner. It can be. I'm just saying, if I covered FOMC today, we would have 20,000 watching. Well, it's not the FOMC, it's the Fed minutes. And there's been many times, Martyn, you haven't even covered the Fed minutes. But yeah, FOMC meeting, I'll be covering the FOMC meeting at the end of the month. And let's see if we can get 20,000 watching. Martyn's on holiday, but he's still here giving me a hard time, isn't he? I bought some shares yesterday, says Money Making Mitch. Congratulations. It was a good pump on Hover. Thanks, Martyn. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll see everyone in the morning for the morning forecast show. Make sure you've got your newsletter so you can keep up with all the news. The link is now in the live chat as well. Oh, Ricardo, welcome to Bronze. Lots of perks and benefits.
Ricardo Vasquez has become a member.
I'm always watching, Lon says Martyn. Okay, thank you everyone. See you tomorrow. Keep an eye out for the videos that will come out as well. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.